The story of an hour. I'm going to talk about the story of an hour back cage chirping. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1850 to wealthy Catholic parents, cage chirping knew hardship from an early age. In 1855, Chirping lost her father, Thumbs, when he died in an unexpected and tragic railway accident. The loss would follow Kate for the rest of her life, eventually forming the basis of an our story. Nearly 4 decades later, Chirping was well educated from an early age, reading voraciously and speaking fluent French. Chirping was also well aware of the divide between the powerful and the oppressed in society. She grew up during the Civil War, so she knew friends and about violence and slavery in the United States. Many of her short stories and novels, including her most famous, The Weekend, deal with life in Louisiana, also known as a fast and prolific writer. She had written more than 100 stories, and is by the end of the 1900s. Unitedly, Chirping died of a cerebral in 904, but her 1 hour story has served the test of time and is widely regarded as one of the most important American writers of the 19th century. Imagine a world where women are fighting for apparent rights, where the economic climate is unpredictable, where technology develops every year. Although this world seems like the present, it also describes America in the 1890s. Writer Kate Chirping worked and lived in this world, and many of the publics of this period are reflected in her short story, The Story of an Hour, new more than a century late. The story remains one of Kate Chirping's most famous works and continue to shed light on the internal of women deprived of their autonomy. This short story is full of open force, the thumbs, characters, and even symbols in the stories are often seen but opposite, and of all these elements in the story of an hour reveals a deeper meaning, as them is information exploded in a price of literature. Most stories have them, and this is essentially the case in the 1 hour story. Although Chip's story is short, it deals with some of freedom. The most public theme in Chirping stories is the between freedom and reference. In short, reposition occurs when a person's thoughts, feeling, or distress are suppressed. Representation can occur both internal and externally. For example, if a person experiences an accident, they may choose to suppress the memory of the accident itself. If a person has all needs that society deems, society can work to suppress that person. Women in the 19th century were of the victims of repressions. They are supposed to be gentle and passive, often against a woman's personal distress. Here, Chirping makes a strong contrast between the freedom of men and woman. But freedom is only part of being a man in American freedom. For women looks markedly different. The subject of the 1 hour story is more than just an idyllic life with your hour. The word dark marriage of life in the 1890s. Marriage is an of also control, that is, it helps control woman and men's social and power are usually free to travel the world on personal jobs and make important family to stay at home and be at home. As the story goes, the marriage case is witnessed often end in an early or unpacked death. The woman in her family, including Kate herself, survived and never wealthy. History tells us that Kate Chirping was happy in her marriage. She knew that my woman were pursuing marriage built on control and society expectation. Chirping's when her story had the need for a word that women as partners and capital people in marriage. In the end, judge and are some that in marriage in an unexpected moment. The 1 hour story Chirping Joe and Thoreau to highlight how freed Louise from her and gave her joyous hope for the future. At first, Louise over her husband's death. However, in a few short when she discovers her own life. She found joy in this matter. Although Louise was able to see how horrible it was to happy at such an event, she continued to revel in